you know, it's a good day for me, good day for our program to announce Chris as the associate head coach. We've had a good history together. You know, we've had a great success of Australian players here, but, you know, he's Australian, but that's not one reason why we hired him. I think the biggest thing, he really fits with what we do as a program, what we do as a coaching staff, and my biggest and hardest decision was trying to replace Lamont, who was outstanding here. And he's, you know, we're real happy for Lamont being the head coach at San Diego. And I think he's going to have great success there. And then, you know, my thing was to try to find the right guy that could be my right-hand guy, and I think I found him. I've been very fortunate because I talked to Chris last year about the opening left by Coach Snow, but it just didn't work out. And then I was able to get Alan Huss, who I think is a great addition to our staff, and I ended up getting two guys that I wanted on my staff all along. So really happy that he's here. One thing that's really evident about him is he's been around great basketball minds. You know, he worked with Coach Majerus, and when Coach Majerus was ill a game, he coached their team. They had a tough St. Louis team that we played in overtime on New Year's Eve, 64-60 win, which was a great game. He had great players. Well, I just want to remind you of that. And then, you know, I really respect Tim Miles, who was at Colorado State, who's now at Nebraska, and he's been nothing but really complimentary. I think he understands our program and understands what Chris is coming into. So, you know, we're really excited to welcome him today, and also his wife Cheryl and Avery and Casey and their little girl, 15 months old, Elsie, that's going to join us shortly. So he'll be around till tomorrow. Then he'll fly back, and then he'll be in for the Coaches versus Cancer Gala, and then he'll stay for a while till our guys get out of school. We got two guys graduating, but really good day for us. I think our kids are excited. He has some relationship from guys on our team, so it helps that way. So I'll let him make a comment, and then any questions you guys have, you guys can ask.
Thanks, Coach. Obviously, you know, really excited to be here. As Coach said, when I came here in 2011 with Coach Majerus on the St. Louis team, I still remember going to dinner that night after the loss. Thanks for bringing that up. And I just couldn't believe how impressive this place was. And talked to Coach Majerus about it a lot, and I still remember him saying that he thought this is one of the more elite programs, obviously, on the West Coast, but a top 25 program, and I feel the same way. So just the opportunity to come over here and be part of something special. Obviously, I had a tremendous time at Nebraska, and want to thank Coach Miles for everything he did for me and my family. But just really excited to be here, and obviously excited to be part of something special. Coach is someone who I've admired for a long time. I think he's one of the better offensive minds in college basketball, and that was really exciting for me. It doesn't hurt that the weather's beautiful out here compared to Nebraska. But, yeah, like I said, I'm just really excited to be here and look forward to winning a lot of games and having a good time.
Coach, you have a great pipeline to Australia?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
How about rugby? We need some rugby players here, too.
Yeah, we can do that as well. We can do whatever you need. No, obviously I started out in Division II a long time ago, and one thing that really helped me get started in this profession was recruiting Australia. I went to a team that was bad, and we got rid of everybody and recruited 9 Aussies and had one of the biggest turnarounds in D2 history. So I started out that way. I've worked really hard to broaden my horizons and not be one-dimensional. So I feel like if you can go hit a home run, I'm always going to go try and do it. But I've spent a lot of time in the Midwest, East Coast, done a lot of stuff on the West Coast. So yeah, you know, this has got a great pipeline to Australia, and one of the reasons I told Coach Miles that I came here was just this place has an exceptional brand in Australia, and I was always really impressed that the players have had here, going back to Luke Longley. So for me, it's really exciting to work at a place like this that's so well known back home.
Coach, what are your attributes? What do you bring to the table immediately?
Well, you know, hopefully recruiting one. That's a big thing that obviously is an important, it's the lifeblood of the program, obviously. But I've worked for great basketball coaches, and I've worked for demanding coaches, and I know Coach Neal is an exceptional coach, but I feel like I can help out in a lot of different ways. I just want to be a service to all the players. I want to be here as much as possible to help those guys get better. I really believe in what Coach Neal's doing here, and if I can help in any way, I will. Obviously, work for great defensive coaches, and Coach and I have had a lot of different discussions about those different things. So, really, whatever he needs me to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability and as hard as I possibly can.
Coach, this is a program that did lose 10 or 12 to end the season. It has had a complete roster turnover in terms of coaching staff in 2 years for various reasons. Did you have any concerns coming in because of those types of things?
Now, you got to realize he's going to ask a negative question, so he's going to have a negative.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. When I look at this program and I look at Coach Neal's track record, I have no concerns. It's tough when you lose, and obviously this is from afar watching it, but to lose that many pros, that many good players, guys that have been long-serving guys, no matter who you are or what program you're at, there's always a rebuilding phase, there's always a growth phase. So for me, I have no concerns whatsoever.
And one thing I want to say, because everybody wants to say something about it, my job as a coach here is to further career or advance coaches in their profession. My job's not to keep guys here. Since I've been here, I've been a part and got 2 coaches head coaching jobs, but nobody wants to say anything about that. I've gotten assistant coaches better jobs. When Y. King, Ryan, and Chris Walker left, nobody was writing anything or talking about any of that. My job is to help players advance, help them become student athletes, but also it's my job to help coaches further their profession, and I think that's one reason why Chris is here. So, we can all say what's going on with our program, but I think it's a positive turnover. I think we've done a lot of good things for coaches that have been in our program and also players.
Coach, a lot is made of the difference between the international players and the American game, and how maybe international players have more of a fundamental approach. Is that what you hope to bring as far as recruiting, helping out?
Yeah, like I said, it's really whatever coach needs for the program. Obviously, from growing up over there and seeing, I think it is more fundamental, probably because they're less athletic, so you have to be. But also, I think it's whatever fits, whatever's necessary for this program. So they've done a great job here. They've got a terrific staff, and they got really good players. I've only been here 24 hours, but I can already tell they have a tremendous culture. Guys are really supportive of each other. From the strength coach down to the media relations guy, everyone's great. So you can see that basketball is a huge priority here, and you can see they'll do whatever's necessary to be successful. So for me, it's just about finding the right fit, and whatever that is. In terms, I'm still learning this team. I'm still learning the personnel, but with coach's direction, I have complete confidence we'll get the right guys.
Chris, with your family situation, can you expand a little bit on the importance of UNM's the medical facilities at UNM, and how much that played a factor into your decision to come here for the family? Yeah,
that was a big part of it. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, my son has been battling cancer for the better part of 6 years. He's fought it 3 times, had 2 separate transplants, a bone marrow transplant and a stem cell transplant, and we've been through an awful lot as a family, and to be honest with you, the people of Nebraska, the state of Nebraska embraced my family. They were tremendous. The medical care was phenomenal. So obviously in moving forward, that was an important piece to me, making sure that the right facilities were here, and coaches put me in touch with the right people and done everything. So I'm at a point with my family. This was what was best for my family. It was best for me career-wise, professionally, and really comfortable with the medical facilities and those type things for my son.
Has it been a challenge at all dealing with all of those other things that are going on, and as well as the community back there embracing it and doing the whole Avery Strong and all of that? I mean, that's got to be an intense situation to be part of. Yeah,
biggest challenge in my life, without question. It's something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, and to have to go through it, and I don't know if there's any worse thing in life than watching your own kids suffer. So for me to have to see my son go through it was awfully tough. But he's a fighter. He gets that from his mom, not me. And he's an awfully positive, strong-willed child. For being 8 years old, he probably has every right to, hate all the things he goes through. But he has a great outlook on life. And like you said, Nebraska was tremendous. I mean, I can't thank the people enough for everything they did for my family. It was hard leaving. This wasn't an easy decision because of what they did for my family and because of Coach Miles and what he did for my family. So it wasn't, something that I just turned over one day and said, let's go. We thought a lot about it, and there's a lot of things to consider. But I'm really excited about getting to know everybody here and hopefully spreading the word here amongst New Mexico and trying to support pediatric cancer, and I'll do that to the best of my ability.
Those across the board, when you walk into the pen, impression, when you see Lobos on videotape, exciting basketball, just the whole picture, what do you see?
I see a program that does whatever it takes to be successful. I was just saying to Coach when we went to breakfast this morning, I saw a police car with "Go Lobos" written on the police car. I've never seen that in my life. So I see a program that has tradition. I see a program that's had tremendous amount of success. I see leadership. I see a university that does whatever's necessary to try and help their program. That's what excites me the most. I've worked at a school in the Big Ten with tremendous resources, but I've never seen a school with resources directed at basketball like they have here, and that really excites me. And I can't wait to get started. I wish we were doing workouts and practice today.
From a recruiting standpoint, what's the split between picking up what UNM's already, kind of the irons in the fire that they're already recruiting, and how much do you bring of people you were recruiting on your own?
Yeah, I think this day and age, I think you recruit as a staff. You don't recruit individually. And I think if you try and do everything individually, you're going to fail. And I see that, in this staff with Coach Huss and everybody here, Cody involved, I've been really impressed in how much they want to work together, the staff cohesion. I don't think you can do it alone anymore. I think those days are long gone. So, like I said, I want to help in any way possible, but it's about, helping each other with our connections, trying to get the right guys, and obviously making sure Coach Neal is excited about the product that we have. But I think there's so much more to it at a place like this. The academic resources from what I've seen right now is incredible. Lobo Village, I've never seen things like that. The proximity of everything so close. It's one thing to have great facilities. It's another thing to have it, where it's all in the same, mile radius. It's amazing to me. So, I'm just excited to be part of it. And that wasn't done by me. Obviously, that was done by everybody, the Hugh Greenwoods and Cameron Bairstows and like I said, Luke Longley. So it's been done over a long time. But I know this. I know that there's probably more University of New Mexico T-shirts running around. Maybe it was the Greenwoods and everybody else, but there's more New Mexico T-shirts and Lobo T-shirts in Australia than any other college. And it's just a tremendous brand. And obviously the proximity to get back home, back and forth is a bonus. There were so many different things to go into coming here that was exciting, and that was a big part of it.
Coach, is there another Luke Longley on the way from Australia?
I'm not supposed to comment on individual players, but I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. There's a lot of talent out there. When you look at, and as I said, I've recruited more Americans than I have Australians over the last 6 years, but, the #1 player in the 2015 class and in 2016 class are Australians right now. So there's a lot of good players, and obviously they've done such a great job here recruiting those, and hopefully I can help in that respect, and even traveling and taking their team overseas. They've done everything right, to get those type of kids. So there's a lot of good players, but this is a place where I think you can go and get the best places, best players from Australia, New Zealand, America, wherever it may be. This is a product that it's easy to sell.
Coach, you mentioned recruiting here in America more lately. Where have you primarily been recruiting?
I've always worked at, other than being at St. Louis with Coach Majerus, I've probably worked in more niche situations than anything, and I consider this somewhat of a niche school. And what I mean by that is, obviously the And again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there's not a tremendous amount of talent in this state. So whenever you have that, you have to go outside your state. Now all of a sudden you're recruiting other people's states. You know, you go into different people's areas. So this is no different for me in that respect. And I've signed players from Canada. I've signed players from the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, Australia, New Zealand. It's like I said, it's just getting the best players that, and the right type of kids, character-wise, that care about academics and do the right thing. So I'll go anywhere. Wherever there's players, I'll go. I have no problems. I got enough freaking fly miles for all of us, I can tell you that.
Obviously, you have to be well-rounded, but are you more of like a defensive type coach?
I've worked for more defensive coaches than I have offensive. You know, obviously, Coach Majerus, I don't know if you can categorize him specifically as just a defensive guy. Coach Miles is a really good offensive coach as well. But, yeah, you know, I've enjoyed, I stayed with Coach last night and just talking offense with him, you know, because he has such a tremendous insight into doing different things, and that's a big part for me, is trying to learn from new coaches, branch out and understand new networks, and you know, when you end up being a head coach, which is what I want to be eventually, you know, you're always going to take bits and pieces from everybody you've worked for, and I think I'm going to get a lot from Coach. I'm going to learn a lot from him and the rest of the staff here. So definitely work for more defensive guys and hope to help out. I don't know if Coach needs my help at all, but you know, I'll give him my 2 cents when he asks for it.
Coach, what about players, too? Are you more comfortable with guards, forwards, centers, or are you just feel comfortable with just the whole realm of everything?
So when I originally started working in St. Louis, one of the things Coach Majerus would do was every year we rotated. So we had the guards, we had the wings, and we had the bigs. And he was really big on developing you and getting you better in every facet, every area. So I've done, you know, it's whatever Coach wants me to do. I'm not phased. I've worked with bigs, I've worked with guards. You know, I think, and obviously they've done a tremendous job here with player development. You know, I remember seeing Cameron Bairstow, for those of you who didn't, when he was 15, 16 years old, he couldn't make a left-handed layup. He couldn't make a free throw, and he could barely jump over a pillow. You know, so he was a kid that, to see what he's done here and the career he had, you know, is a tribute to these coaches. So, like I said, I'll do whatever's asked for. Whatever he wants me to do, I'll do. So.
Craig Neal, how much does it help you that he has worked with defensive coaches? And just since you got here, we handle the offense?
Yeah, I think that's one thing I was looking for. And just going back, when I first started talking to coaches about coming here, I had reached out to 2 guys, and Chris was one of them, and he can tell you more about it. My major concern was his son. And you know, the cancer center here with Dr. Willman, with Cheryl, and they do a good job over there, and I think that was the key, because he really wasn't too he was excited about it, but I think one thing that helped me was he knew how important it was for Avery to be taken care of, and then he circled back around, did his research, and then we kind of went from there. But I've hired him to be an all-around coach. I've hired him to be somebody I can lean on, and I do that with all my guys. I think I did it a lot more with Allen when Lamont was here. I think I try to do that with all my guys. He'll help us with defense, but he'll also coach offense, and all my guys will coach every aspect. But one thing that we will do, and Allen and Chris particularly we'll do our scouts, we'll set our defensive principles, and they'll make the calls during the game. I really don't do that. So now I'll have the final say. If it gets kind of out of whack, which I don't think will happen, but you know, it helps him with that. But I didn't bring him here just to do that. I brought him here to be a head coach in the future. I brought him here to further his career, and I also brought all my staff members to teach him everything that I know, and I don't know everything. I'm trying to learn as much as I can, but I'm looking forward to him being here and giving me different ideas. I think Alan's giving us different ideas. I think we've had Cody on the road recruiting, which I think he's going to be a heck of an assistant coach someday, and then I think Ben's going to move up when we have another change. So, you know, I think right now we got a really good staff. I won't name my 3rd assistant until July 1. Got some pretty good candidates, but I think I know which direction I'm going to go. So, just really excited about what he can give me outside of what we do here. We won't change a lot. We'll tinker with it and we'll make adjustments, but he's definitely going to help with that.
Craig, the recruiting process, without talking specific players, obviously.
Right.
How has this spring period been going for you guys?
That's a good question, Jeff. I think it's been a little hectic in the sense that I've gone out more and done more just because of being a guy down that I didn't do as much last year. I think we haven't had to do as much as far as trying to get players in positions because we don't have a lot of scholarships. So that's been the biggest key. I think we're just trying to pinpoint guys and which direction we want to go. It's kind of like we've always talked about fitting the puzzle. So we got a lot of opportunities with kids that I think we've set ourselves up with, and hopefully in the next coming weeks we'll have some news on some guys, and it'll be good news.
Coach, do you have an update on Jordan?
I was going to do that after. Are you guys done with that? Are you guys done with him? Any questions on him? Matt's going to put out a release. You want to leave, don't you? You go ahead.
I got some work to do.
All right, you go ahead. Matt's going to put out a press release. I had individual meetings with our players. I had several meetings with some of them, and Jordan's decided that he's going to go try to play closer to home. Matt's going to put out a release. We talked to him about it. He's concerned about his health of his dad, and it just didn't work out here. So it's his decision that he's going to transfer, and I've given him his release, and we wish him the best. It just didn't work out.
Now, does that open up perhaps bringing in a player late?
Possibly. But that wasn't what we were trying to do. That decision, Arthur decided he wanted to go graduate. He's going to graduate in June, which is outstanding. He's got several schools that are interested in him, and he can go play a lot more minutes, have a chance to start, which he probably would have had a chance here, but he just wanted to be guaranteed some minutes that we weren't able to do. And then Jordan, I think he's concerned about getting back home, and I really think that he wanted to play on the perimeter, and that wasn't going to happen here.
With the Jordan situation, disappointing from the beginning, because I know he came more hurt than you guys realized. How much was it just the injury, and I guess how frustrating of a year was it knowing he was supposed to come in and fill a certain role,
right?
Wasn't ever able to, be an injury or his desire to play in the perimeter. How frustrating a year was it from that standpoint, not necessarily personally with Jordan?
Well, I don't, and that's good. I don't think it was on one player. I think our injuries hurt us with Cullen and Arthur, and then Dede at the end, and then Jordan never being healthy. We considered Jordan coming in and being a top player to replace and start at the 4 position, kind of like the Webb kid did at Boise State. Our expectations were high for him, but I just think he never could get over the hump because of his injuries. He never was fully healthy. Now I think he's getting healthier. He had his spur removed. He's cleared to run a little bit. His rehab's going well. His knee's better. His knee's stronger. I just never thought he had a fair shot to really be what he can be because he wasn't healthy. It was a little frustrating, but I think it was a frustrating, we had a frustrating finish and didn't have a good year, and we're just working hard to change that. But, it's one of those things where a program like this, and Chris said it, we consider ourselves to be a top 25 program or a program known nationally, but it's still hard to replace like Darrington Hobson going early, Tony Snell going early, Alex Kirk declaring for the draft early. Those guys are hard to replace. There's not guys sitting out there like some of the guys like they do at Duke or Kentucky where they're waiting to see who's going to leave. We don't spend a lot of time recruiting. We recruit consistently and all the time during a year, not for that to happen, but for the further years. But when that happens to you, it takes a hit, and you take some flyers on guys, you try to evaluate guys, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And Alex had a great experience. He learned a lot. He went for his dream, and we supported him, but he was hard to replace. And, I don't think you can rely that on one guy, but when that happens, it's hard. I didn't see it coming. I saw it coming when he told me in my private meeting that he wanted to transfer. So you see it coming when he tells you that. But, we met 3 or 4 days. We met 3 times. Well, we met twice after we talked about that, because I wanted to make sure that's what he wanted to do, and make sure. And I said, I'll help you any way I can, and that was the decision he made. That had nothing to do with we thought he would be here, but that was his decision, and I want to. I'm not going to keep anybody that doesn't want to be here, and he's got to do what's best for him and his family. Now, I don't know what he's going to do. That's yet to be determined.
Coach, how many open scholarships do we have as of right now?
We got one scholarship in 15, so we can sign somebody late or bring somebody in for next year.
Coach, you wanted Goodwin to play the power forward spot.
Right.
Can Tim Williams step into that role and be that power forward?
Yeah, I think he really can. My thing with Jordan when he came here was to get him up to speed playing the power forward spot, and then when he got his body better and moving better and running better and guarding better, then I was considering moving him to the perimeter just because he can shoot it. But we never got to see that. I think Tim was brought in because Tim can score the ball, Tim can rebound it. Tim's put on a lot of really good weight strength-wise, and I think he'll be somebody we can throw it into. But I think Devin showed great improvement from a year ago, who's somebody that didn't play. And he was put in a situation where he wasn't used to, and I thought he had really bright moments, and then sometimes he was average. And then I thought Joe did a pretty good job for a freshman. We didn't think we were going to, when Joe signed with us, Alex was still coming back. So, we had a pretty good, I thought situation, and with Jordan not being healthy, Joe got kind of thrown in, but I thought Joe did a good job. So, with Devin and Tim and Joe being a sophomore, I feel pretty good about that spot.
I know it's early, but any chances you redshirt anybody next year?
We could redshirt some guys. We could redshirt up to 2 guys, but I don't see that coming. That's always a possibility just because we have so many guys that are able to play, and we're possibly going to add a 5th-year walk-on, which I said, a graduate student, so that won't be decided till June 1, trying to get him into graduate school, and once we get him into graduate school, then we can make that public.
Do you have a set time at all in trying to find this recruit, maybe so he comes in the same time as all the recruits come in? I mean, working toward that? Or?
Well, the Dane Kuiper will be the only one here in June, and Mathis and Hunter won't be until July 1 because they're still in school. They're in school till, Anthony's trying to get here for the June session, but I don't know. He's got graduation on the 3rd. I don't know if he can get here in time because the hard thing about summer school is it's a 4-week session, and they have to take 6 hours. And if he misses 1 week of a 4-week session, he can't do it. So he'll probably come in July, and Jordan and him will take 6 hours in July, and then they'll be here. But if we add a player, we could add one in June, or we could add one in August, depending on what their eligibility is and if they got through clearinghouse and that.